Look, if you want to come to Australia, you definitely have your reasons.
Good morning, Dennis.
Morning. We came here a long time ago when we were quite young.
How was the process of getting the job, and what kind of jobs did you do? Oh my God!
Kenyans helped each other to get into the industries because you get your referrals and your references.
Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you guys for supporting my channel. It's been amazing having you here. So today, guys, I have an amazing guest in my channel, and his name is Dennis. And the reason Dennis is amazing is because he's among the youngest civil engineers we have in the Kenyan community here in South Australia. He was featured in a newspaper here in South Australia for a project he did. And the reason, guys, I brought him into my channel is because most immigrants or most Kenyans, they don't want to go for such courses. We want to know, why did Dennis pursue the course that he pursued, which is civil engineer? And so, guys, without a further ado, I'll let Dennis introduce himself, and then we'll take from there. So thank you so much, Dennis, for coming into my channel.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm so honored to actually interview you, and I was waiting for this day. Thank you so much again for coming.
Thank you very much.
Yes, so without further ado, let's just go into the first question. Who is Dennis? Tell us a bit about yourself.
Right, all right. Dennis is a 26-year-old young man who became an engineer 5 years ago. From studying at UniSA into working for privates, then the government later on,
Yes.
and still working in the industry. So just in a nutshell.
Right, thank you very much, Dennis. So I want to know, how did you get to know about Australia? How did your journey begin for you to come to Australia?
Yeah, so I already had family here. I had my uncle who was here, and when I finished KCSE, that's the Kenyan high school education, I thought about working outside the country. So I reached out to my uncle, and my dad thought it was a good idea to get out there, and that's how I decided to land in Australia.
Okay, thank you so much, Dennis. So why did you specifically choose South Australia? Did you have any family in other states, or?
No, mostly here in South Australia.
Right.
So it was a good footing, as well as I knew that Australia was sort of even though it's a developed nation, there's a lot of work in our field.
Right.
A lot of projects here and there. It's a very big country, and there's always something going on.
Right.
So we're not starved for jobs. There's a lot of work, and it's a good idea to come here if you want to pursue this kind of field.
Yeah. How did you know that you wanted to be a civil engineer? Is it something that was from way back, or how did you know you wanted to be an engineer?
From way back.
Right.
So I did have my family my dad was already working in the industry.
Yes.
He introduced me to a couple of projects when I was very young, and I thought it was a good career to pursue.
Right.
There's a lot of benefits in doing engineering,
Yes.
regardless of what field you want to get into. I was lucky enough because I was introduced into civil, structural sort of element.
Wow, that's so nice, Dennis. And so I have another question. How was school work? So when you came in to Australia, we all know that there's different nationalities, there's different people from different countries. So how was you interacting with different nationalities in school? How did you find it?
Yeah, at first it was a bit challenging. So back in 2014, we weren't as many Kenyans as we are now.
Yes.
So back then it was mostly the Chinese and the Indians were here, and we sort of had to acclimatize yourself towards them, or try and speak with them. And some of them are very close; they have their own little groups. Mm-hmm. So we just have to try and make friends, see how you go. Back in the day, it's different now. There's a lot more Kenyans, so you can sort of relate better and feel at home here.
Yeah. Okay. So, did you have to get any job when you were a student? And if you did get a job, how was the process of getting the job? And what kind of jobs did you do?
Yeah. So back in 2014, again, I refer back because times are different.
Yes.
But back then, the main job that you had to do when you're here was mostly aged care.
Right.
But my story goes like this. I came in, I was able to get work in a farm while studying. And I was able to, shear sheep. And then after that, I was luckily enough to get into the aged care industry after studying for Certificate 3 in aged care. You definitely need to get a job so that you can be able to pay for your school fees, or if your parents are paying, try and help them, cover your expenses.
Right.
Or pay for your school fees in whatever shape or form. So that's where I was. And that's what I carried through my studies with aged care.
How did you juggle between working and schoolwork?
Yeah, so it's obviously very difficult. You want to work to pay for your school fees, but you don't want to fail school, so you want to study as well. So you have to consider, what are your priorities? When can you work? Do you need to do a lot of work? Sometimes it is that you don't have to pressure yourself to work because we're all here to study. The government here is very strict on students when it comes to study, so you must be able to pass your courses within a certain limit. Otherwise, you have to reapply for your visa, which is a whole other process. So yes, first year I didn't do as much work. I was, luckily enough, I had my uncle to help me with some of the expenses. But by the time I was in year 2, I was able to adjust. I was able to sort of set my program at school and work in between. Get some time to study. Get some time to sleep as well. And that's how I carried on from then on.
Oh, that's good. And Dennis, so many people keep asking me in my Facebook and in my social media platforms that how long does it take for one to get a job when they are very new, especially as a student. So we would love to know your story and how have things changed from then to now?
Yeah, so back in 2014, it was a lot more difficult than it is now. Back then, the aged care was pretty much where we all went, headed to. So getting a job was finding a place or a company that was offering aged care where there's a lot more Kenyans than in some places where there are no Kenyans. Kenyans helped each other to get into the industries because you get your referrals and your references, and you get a foothold once you're working. Then you have people of the same community who help you to get to be able to make your money. It took me about six months to get my first job, but nowadays things have changed. So there's a lot more. We're a bigger community here. There's a lot more offerings out there. Aged care is no longer the place to. Well, it is one of the places to go. Disability would be the other. So you have different options of where to go. There's a lot more people who can guide you and give you references to get into the industry. So it has become a lot more easier over time.
Did you have any expectations when coming to Australia? And did you meet your expectations, especially about job hunting and getting a job? Were you among the people, because for example, when I was coming, I thought I'll get a job immediately, but it didn't happen. So what sort of expectations did you have?
The best way to answer that question is to actually say, come with no expectations. Just,
right.
Come in, if you're a hardworking person, get in, try as much as you can. It really depends on your luck and praying to God all the time. So when I came in, I was told that there's work, but there was so many other, people telling you that it is not as easy as you think it is. So I did not expect to get a job instantly. And that, kept me going in terms of looking for work. It's gotten easier, definitely.
Right.
But you don't really expect that you will come into a new country and get job instantly.
Right.
So you come in and try as much as you can. And if you're a hardworking person, you definitely get something in the end.
Is there opportunities for students to practice in their career while still studying? Or do they have to wait until they've graduated so that they can practice in their career?
Good question. It depends really between different industries. So some industries give opportunities for undergrads to practice. In the case of, I'd give a good example, engineering, where you can be able to get into as into the field as a drafter, and you don't really need to have your final bachelor's or your master's. But some industries require you to be registered. Speaking in terms of the health sector, pharmacy, doctor, where you need to be registered before you start practicing. However, I'd say for whatever industry you're looking to come into, definitely do your research. If there's opportunities, why not? If there's none, then you also have the other option of working in disability to pay off your school fees, and in the end you'll be able to get into your field once you finish your study.
Right, that's very good. So for this, we're going to wrap up for this part, and I don't know if you have any final remarks, especially to people who are coming as students. Any final remarks and any advice? And of course, this is not it's not legal or professional advice. It's just from him, because he's been here for a long time. Do you have any?
I would say, look, if you want to come to Australia, you definitely have your reasons, but don't feel swayed. Australia is a really capable country in terms of finding work, in terms of growing here. We came here a long time ago when we were quite young, and we've been able to basically overcome challenges and finally practice in our industry. It's the same with you, viewers, as well. If you're looking to come in to do engineering, law, or whatever industry you want to get into, then it's something that you should definitely come and work as hard as you can, and you'll definitely get it.
So thank you very much, Dennis, for answering our questions. Thank you guys for watching this first session. We are going to have a second session where we're going to talk about Dennis now having graduated. So guys, thank you so much for always supporting me. Kindly subscribe, comment, share, and bye for now.